Hi, this is John with Performance Plus Tennis, and in today's lesson we're going to talk about the forehand follow-through. Should you catch the racket or should you not catch the racket? We're going to break it all down for you and help you build your forehand in today's lesson. So should you catch your racket or not catch your racket on the forehand? And the answer is yes and no. And for me as a coach, when I'm working with players who are developing their forehand, I encourage catching the racket in the beginning because it gives a goal for the finish of the stroke. And if you're one of those types of players that tends to not finish your stroke or be afraid of stroking through the ball and finishing when you're playing, having the left hand as a goal or an intention to catch the racket will help you make a complete swing when you're playing. So that's one of the advantages of catching the racket with the left hand. So when you're a beginner also, just knowing that you want to get the racket to the left hand will start to produce a shape of a swing and a consistency in that shape that'll help form the basis of a good forehand. So in the beginning, catching the racket is a pretty good idea and it really will help build your stroke. And one of the other advantages of catching the racket, particularly in the beginning, is it helps purify the swing. So I use the terms flip-flops and wibble wobbles to describe movements in the swing that we don't want. Impurities. And what happens when you catch the racket is you start to get the consistency in the swing pattern, so you're catching it in the same way every time. And it tends to clean up the wibble wobbles and the flip-flops in your swing so that you feel like it makes a pure movement to the left hand. So catching the racket in the left hand, or the non-dominant hand in my case, the left hand, is really helpful for developing the pure swing in its most basic form. The disadvantage of catching the racket with the left hand is that it becomes a crutch. So when I take my swing and I put the racket in my non-dominant hand, it tends to let the shoulder release and lets the swing actually break down and really lose control. So the next step in really developing the forehand that I have my students do is not catch the racket, and instead feel like they stroke all the way through the ball, all the way through the shoulder, get the elbow at least shoulder high, and feel like they hold it there and they feel that they're in control. And so that the entire swing is controlled through the rotation and drive of the shoulder, and the swing feels very pure in this state and very much in control. So this is the next stage. Once you've gotten a swing that's come through the left hand, feel what it's like to take the left hand away and hold the finish and feel like you control the swing to this area. And it's really going to help you start to get the feel and professional flair on your forehand stroke. And the concept of not catching the racket is most useful when you start to introduce the variations that are in the forehand. And there are certainly a number of different variations depending on the type of ball you're receiving, the height of contact, how much spin you're going to play, where you are on the court, and so on. So for the base forehand, which we've been demonstrating so far, it just makes a very pure swing with the finish just off the shoulder. If the ball's higher, I'm going to come up and I'm going to catch the ball, and I'm actually going to finish a little bit lower because the swing can only go up to the ball, can't keep rising. It's just going to come down and around and off the shoulder a little bit more. If I'm playing a ball that is lower and I'm in the middle part of the court, I'm not going to extend as much, and I'm going to just take the whole shape, the whole system of the swing and adapt it to the ball and finish lower. But I'm still going to feel like I control the swing through the shoulder. I'm never going to let it kind of crutch or collapse. So I feel that I hold the shoulder or control the shoulder at the end and then hold it there and feel that movement. And that's really going to be applicable regardless of the type of forehand you're playing. So my recommendation is to get out and work on your forehand, not catch the racket, and feel the control in the end and hold it there. So you're playing through, holding, feeling like you're totally in control. Now you might be thinking, well, that's going to feel a little bit mechanical, and what do I do next? Well, eventually that is just going to flow into what becomes your natural style. So that's why we see so many different styles. Most of the players are making a very similar movement through to this area, and then their style takes over. So you might be thinking at this point, how do I finish my forehand? Should I catch my racket or should I not catch my racket? And the answer is, it's really a personal style. But what I would do is work on your forehand, not catching the racket, to feel where your forehand goes and how to control the forehand from the beginning to the end. So that you take out the wibble wobbles and the flip-flops and feel like you really play the stroke all the way through the shoulder and feel like you have total control of the movement. And then if your natural style is to catch the racket when you're playing, then that just becomes what you do. And I wouldn't even think about that. But when you're practicing, I would be practicing the feel of the forehand without catching the racket. So you really learn how to control your movement all the way through. I hope you really enjoyed and will benefit from today's lesson by taking these concepts of the court and working on your forehand. And we have a playlist here on our YouTube channel that covers a lot of different areas of the forehand that'll help you even more. And if you want to build your forehand into a professional quality weapon, we have a link in the description down below to my Forehand Foundation course, which covers all the foundational principles and advanced techniques that you want to master to achieve your full potential with your forehand. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications because we're releasing new content weekly to help you build your tennis game. Thanks again for watching today's lesson, and we'll see you in the next video.